Hey dreamers, this is Jade and welcome back for another Journal with Me episode. I am actually in my travel journal. I had another quick trip to Virginia this time. Last time, of course, it was my ed trip, which I went to like the DC slash Maryland area for. And this time it was Chesapeake, Virginia, and the event was my little cousin's wedding. I just cannot believe my little cousin is an entire adult now and is getting married. That is like blowing my mind. I'm sure the rest of you understand, having cousins or nephews and nieces that are like at least 10 years younger than you, and seeing them grow up and do adult things is just like, what? Where did the time go? I feel like I blinked. I still remember those big brown eyes staring at me when he was a toddler. So it's messing with me. But anyway, I am just getting this trip documented. I did go and get some new Tombow brush pen markers. I have a lot of the colors, however, I'm sure there's a lot that I'm still missing as well. But the colors in the wedding were like a burnt orange and like a burgundy color, and so I wanted that burnt orange color, and none of the Tombow markers that I had was giving me that. And so I did go, instead of buying individually this color that I was looking for. It would have been like, it, let's just say it was more economical, especially with how I bought the pack online at Michael's. It was more economical for me to get the entire pack than to just buy it individually. And so that's what I did. I ordered it on Michael's, and I have these extensions on my computer like Honey, and there's another one, I think Capital One, and it'll automatically start plugging in any kind of discount codes, or what do you call them, promo codes or whatever, to see what's the best it tries to get you the best deal basically. And so that's what I did. And while these are usually $26.99, I paid like $13 and change for that entire pack of the Tombow markers. And so yeah, on the trip, we left on a Friday. The wedding was actually on a Saturday, and of course we came back on Sunday. And we don't live too far. It's supposed to be like a 3.5 hour drive. However, getting up there was a freaking nightmare, and I don't even want to go into it before I get myself all worked up and upset again. So yeah, on the way, of course, I was hungry, so we stopped for some Bojangles, and even that was terrible. Usually, my Bojangles is good. Stuff like that is like good when it's hot. But we got it, and everything was like lukewarm, and it was just like, I still ate it though because I was hungry. And so yeah, I was cutting that thing out and just getting that down. And then the hotel we stayed at was the Marriott, and even that was kind of crazy. We were behind. Can I talk? Jesus, we were beside someone. I don't know what they were doing, but I mean, when I tell you it was like crashes all day. It sounded like stuff was coming through the wall and stuff was coming through the floor. And I was pretty sure after they left, I was pretty sure they were beside us. But during the thing, like I couldn't tell if these people were above us, below us, or beside us. Like in whatever direction, I couldn't tell where exactly the noise was coming from. Because sometimes it would seem like it was coming upstairs, but then it would be so loud and so crazy that like it felt like the floor was vibrating. So I'm like, what in the hell is going on, or whatever. It was crazy. And then also, there was no hot water. It was just, y'all, when I tell you it was a hot mess, I'm just telling you it was a hot mess. And so, yeah, I am just getting these pages decorated. I pulled out some old, what do you call it, paper. I know it's from a Maggie Holmes collection. I just don't remember which one, and you probably wouldn't be able to find it anyway. And tore the corners and just decorated around that or whatever. And I'm just leaving it blank for now. I will go back and fill in everything, and then on the next day, Saturday, before going to the wedding, my mom needed to get some shoes to go with her outfit. And so we went out shopping. Me, my mom, and my little sister. And my pup niece was there. She's so freaking cute. But anyway, so yeah, again, pulling out some old paper. That is a Heidi swap. If you all know that if I can find a link for the materials that I use in the making of these spreads, I will. And so yeah, we ended up going. We went to like Walmart, a few places, and then we ended up going to this Kohl's that had a Sephora, and that was like perfect because I had been wanting to get this like I don't know how you say it, salicylic, I think, acid mask from the Ordinary, and I was just gonna go buy an Ulta, but the Sephora was in there, so I said, well, let me check here, and then a plus for this day at least. They were in Virginia. They were having tax-free weekend at the time. I had no idea, and honestly, I thought Virginia had gotten rid of their tax-free weekend like North Carolina did, which is stupid, ridiculous. I hate the politicians. Um, so yeah, I ended up getting it because I was like, it was like $13.20 what I was looking for, and I paid exactly $13.20. And so I was asking my sister, I was like, what is? I was like, is it tax free weekend here or whatever? And she was like, I don't know. Sometimes they just don't tax you anymore for stuff that they consider like the pink tax or whatever. And I was like, okay. But then we did find out later that it actually was tax free weekend in Virginia, and that they still had it. So I was like, okay, cool, that makes sense, because I was like, there was no tax on this at all. Anyway, we found this bookstore. My mom did find her shoes. Me and my sister shopped at Sephora that was in the Kohl's. My sister got her a couple perfumes, and we found this bookstore. It's a used bookstore, but it had books, y'all. It had DVDs, it had CDs, it had cassette tapes, and it had vinyl. It was so cool. I was like, "Ooh, I wish they had one of these somewhere in North Carolina or whatever." So yeah, and we ended up just getting Chick-fil-A for lunch. I didn't want too much because I didn't know what it was going to be looking like as far as the food at the wedding or whatever. So I just ordered a fry, and I love the Chick-fil-A waffle fries, especially when they're hot, and they were so perfect. So that was basically what we were doing before the wedding, just kind of getting ourselves prepped, buying some things that we might want before we get there. As I said, my mom needed new shoes. So yeah, I am just lettering out the Chick-fil-A logo, and this time I am using my Faber-Castell Pit Artist pens. They are brush pens by Faber-Castell. Honestly, out of all of the different type of brush pens so far, these are my favorite. These are the ones that I use the most, because for me, I feel like they are not too thick and they're not too thin, if that makes any sense. And so I'm going over this with a black Faber-Castell to give it some shadows, and I realized later that I should have put some shadows on the parts where it looks like a chicken's head and like the eye. So I will go back when I'm doing my finishing touches and do that as well. Here I am just getting down some decorative background stamps. This is some kind of stamp from Illustrated Faith, and it has all of these different little patterns and designs like check marks and stuff like that. And so I decided to use that as a basis for putting these pictures down, and these were like pictures from basically the beginning of the wedding. It was so beautiful, you all. The only thing was for me, the actual ceremony was held outside, and it was hot as balls that day. So of course my hair ended up a frizzy hot mess. And then they had a signature drink. There was two different ones, I think, but the one I remember and I tried was the Sunrise. I don't really drink a lot, not because I have anything against alcohol, just because with my health it was more conducive to my health to not drink, and so I'm just used to not doing that, if that makes sense or whatever. But I did try the Sunrise, but the alcohol was just entirely too much, so I was like, nah, I'm good on that. But yeah, and so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just getting some of those patterns down, and I'm coloring them in with the kind of reddish burgundy and orange Tombow brush pens that I picked up, or the burgundy one I kind of already had in my stash, and getting those pictures down, and then I will of course, like I said, go back in and do my writing and stuff like that.
So run away with me and say hello to New York City. 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 I'm digging through the glove box. I thought I had a map in here. The driver's door doesn't lock. I bought the car my junior year. There's candy in my backpack, and you can pick our soundtrack. We're heading for the East Coast tonight. So pack your bags and hold on tight, cause we're taking off. Pack map here, track is in. Pack map here, in. Track your backpack here, in. Get in back coast, hold back.
So, you all remember the overthinking mean girl, correct? Well, this girl is now this girl. Look at her. She's so pretty. I love her to pieces. That is my little cousin and the little sister of the groom in this whole entire situation here. And so, yeah. I am moving on to the next page and I'm putting down this kind of film strippy type, what do you call it? Acetate from 49 and Market because I wanted to highlight the dancing pictures of Trey with his family, or well, with his sister and his mom, and then his brother. And Trey is the oldest. Is Trey, Kamari, who is the middle, and then Desi, who is the youngest of the three. I wanted to highlight their pictures because it would just the moments were just so sweet. Trey not only, of course, danced with his new bride, but he danced with his little sister to the Jackson Fives. I'll be there. Oh, I just and then he danced with his mom to if Lauren Hill's Zion. If you have not heard that song, oh my God, I am not even a mother, but every time I hear that song, your girl is in absolute shambles. Shambles, okay? It is such a beautiful song. And so yeah, it was great. And then Kamari was actually Trey's best man, and so yeah, I made sure to get a picture of them both, of course. And he also did the toast for Trey, and then the brides, a couple of the bridesmaids did her toast or whatever. So yeah, and then here I am. We were the table me and my little sister sat at was table 8, with of course the rest of my cousins and whatnot. And so I grabbed the little card from the table, and they had this thing, a little bell and a saying with the kissing bell, as you can see up there. And so all of the pictures that I took, kind of like at the table, I just put on the back of this card here, and it worked out perfectly. I wasn't even thinking to do that; it just kind of came to me when I was doing the decorations for this travel journal or this excursion into Chesapeake. And so here I am getting down the pictures of the bride and groom. One, of course, was their dance, and then the other was once they were finished with their dances and intros and all of that kind of stuff, and they went and sat down. They actually ended up eating separate from everyone else by request of the bride. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm putting down another stamp, also illustrated faith, but it's like a love theme. I did not like the way that it turned out here, so I'm covering up pretty much most of it. You'll be able to see a little here and there, but most of it is going to get covered up because I don't really like the way that it came out. And so, yeah, I am just getting down some more of those flowers. I printed out 2 sticker sheets of those on my silhouette. Again, it was a printable, it was a digital download I got like a while ago. And so they were the perfect colors, as I said, because these were the colors of the wedding. And so, yeah, getting that down in the forever, and then I'm leaving space there to do some journaling. And that little piece that I'm cutting off, it actually was the wrapper around the silverware before we ate. So I thought to make use of that as well. And so I am working on the last day and just getting some extra pictures down, like the family dancing, and like the families, like the lady cousins together, all that kind of stuff. So um, here, yeah, see, I'm just putting dance break here, and then I will go over it with one of my pens, some kind of pen or whatever. And I do that, I'll write it down just to give myself a guide or whatever, and then I'll erase most of it, so I don't have a whole lot of pencil marks coming through. And so, yeah, and this is the last thing I'm putting down. That $100 bill, when the bridesmaids came out onto after the wedding or whatever, they had those like strip gun shooters, and they were shooting out fake $100 bills. Um, and my auntie, people picked them up or whatever. My aunt, I went to my mom and my aunt's table and asked if any of them needed anything or if they wanted anything to drink. My aunt asked for a drink, and so I went and got her one and brought it to her, and she gave me the $100 as a tip. It was hilarious. So yeah, I also kept that, and I just put like a little. I have these like cellophane bags, glassine bags, that's what they call, and I cut it down and stuck it there just to put the extra photos that don't fit anywhere, and that $100 bill and stuff. And I'm going back through, like I said, putting the extra shadows where they need to be, dating everything, making sure everything is stuck down correctly, just adding the finishing touches to this, and that will pretty much wrap this up. If you all have any comments or questions about anything, then please leave those below. I trust that all of you have been safe and well, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.
You never know if you never go, so run away with me. Stroll the midtown streets and tell me that you don't feel giddy. Lady Liberty ain't throwing us a wink, or is she? Travel light and see the world right. You'll never know if you never go, so run away with me and say hello to New York City. New York City.